What's happening, y'all? This is Mike D with Black Fathers Now, where we're bringing the village to the brothers. Every couple of weeks, you can look forward to a quick inspirational message or a thought-provoking guest with knowledge and wisdom, all geared towards helping you be the best father that you can be. We're bringing the village to you. Now it's your turn to do something with what you learned. All right, y'all. Let's go. What's going on, fellas? This is Mike D with Black Fathers Now. And dig this, man. We have a brother on the line that did something that is pretty much, he's the admiration of almost all of us, right? This brother was on American Ninja Warrior. Like, my kids and I and my wife, we all sit around and watch American Ninja Warrior. But now, Black Fathers Now, you have the ability to connect with a brother who was actually on the show this past season. And we have my man, Naeem Mulkey. And it's going to be funny because his name is Naeem now that he's grown. But back in the day when we were in high school, I used to call him Lil B, right? Everybody who went to Westside High School knows him as Lil B. So when you hear Naeem Mulkey, those that went to Westside High School in Augusta, Georgia, realize we're talking about Lil B, all right? But anyway, he's laughing now, right? But my man Naeem, he's a father. He's a husband. Our connection goes back to high school, Westside High School in Augusta, Georgia for a few years. But he's a medical sales professional, a fitness enthusiast, and like I mentioned before, he was a competitor on American Ninja Warrior. What season was this?
Season 9.
Yeah, he was on American Ninja Warrior Season 9. And there's a couple of things that go back in the day when I think about Naeem now, since he's grown as Naeem. There's a couple of things that I think about. In Augusta, Georgia, we really, at the time we were in high school, wrestling was not big, like as far as like competitive wrestling. And for some odd reason, there was a connection back in the day in which I remember you used to wrestle, or you came to high school and you were talking about wrestling, which it always kind of made, it piqued my interest a little bit because, you know, we were all football, basketball, baseball, track, and that was it. You came in talking about wrestling, but then you also used to be a Buffalo Bills fan. What was the deal with that? How did that come about? And give the fellas a deep dive into who Naeem Mulkey is, my brother.
Absolutely, Mike. And I got to tell you, I appreciate you having me on. And the introduction is second to none, man. You can call me Lil B. That's because my middle name was Bion. That's what everybody calls me prior to being 18. But, you know, since then, we go by the first name now, but yeah, man. So we'll take it back to high school. We played football together, that senior year, and Westside brought back the wrestling program for that senior year, and that's when I transferred in. So I was happy that I could continue wrestling because wrestling was my primary sport, and so Mr. Finley, the gym teacher, he was the coach, and he and I kind of got it in together, went to States, and had a good time there. So, man, ever since I was 14 years old, I've really been a fitness enthusiast and, stayed in the weight room because, I'm not super tall, man. I like to claim 5'8", but I'm 5'7".
Look, I like to claim 5'7", but I know I might be slightly below that. But either way, with shoes on, I am 5'7". I'm claiming it. That's what I'm rolling with.
That's right, man. Absolutely. So, guys like you and I, if we weren't going to go tall, we might have to work in the weight room. So, just like yourself, man, we got time. But so, that whole thing morphed into, going off to college. Probably a little too small to play football. So, focused on studies more so. But right around that time, Ninja Warrior was on TV, but it was in Asia only. And so we used to come on at like 2 in the morning on G4, and I would always watch it. I was like, man, I can do that. And, after years and years of saying that, it came to the States. So it was a real small production at the time. Season 1, 2, 3, and 4 done during the daytime. Kind of just like this obscure television show late at night. But then as the show took on a little bit and people became more interested in it, they started filming it at nighttime, right around, I think, season 6 or 7. And it became a big production. And so me still on my couch, I can do that. And so finally, I was just like, well, look, you say you can do it, go do it. And somebody from my CrossFit gym, which is what I'm mainly into now, put something on Facebook saying, here's the application process. So I applied for it. I figure it's a 1 in a million shot I get picked. Because I think this past season, the most recent one, season 9, they had 70,000 applicants.
Wow. 70,000?
70,000. And they only take 560.
Oh, my gosh.
That's it. So I thought there's no way they're going to pick me, but, hey, give it a shot. If you don't play, you can't win. So put my application in, did my 3-minute video, and we literally did that in December and forgot about it. I got a call on April 2nd at 7:30 p.m. from LA number, and my wife was in LA at the time working, so I'm thinking she's calling me from her office, but it was a producer from American Ninja Warrior, told me I made it.
Wow.
I thought that it was one of my buddies playing an April Fool's joke, but I was like, dude,
I thought you were getting punked.
Yeah, man, I thought I was getting punked, so I'm like, don't play with me. And you know, everything was good. It was real good. So got the call April 2nd, then May rolls around, May 8th and 9th. That's when we ran the course. We tape. And here's a little bit of the behind the scenes. So even though the episodes air about 6 weeks apart, they're taped night in sequential nights. Night 1 and night 2. So the city qualifiers taped on night 1 has about 90 to 100 runners in it, and then they take the top 30 out of that and film the finals the following night.
Oh, wow. So just back to back. So it's not, even though they air it, you know, weeks later, it appears as if, you know, you all actually filmed it the next day.
Filmed it the next day, yep. Wow. So 2 very long days. I mean, you know, we watch it on our couch. It's a 2-hour program. But that first episode took 24 hours to film. And we literally filmed starting from 8 o'clock at night. But we have to be on set way before that. Start filming at 8 o'clock at night, and you don't stop filming until the sun comes up.
Wow. So you, and so, and to that point, and this is a question I always have. I mean, now granted, I don't want you to get caught up in getting confidentiality, mess ups with the show or whatever. But do y'all get to practice do you get to practice the run? Really? No,
not at all. And that's part of the whole thing about it is you are supposed to show up and you know nothing about what you're about to approach.
Now, do you get to look at it first? Like, y'all get to walk around and it's like, okay, now this is what I'm doing. Or do you just literally, are you completely blinded to everything that you're about to encounter?
Of course. I mean, the course is there for you to see, but if the producers see you kind of looking at it, taking notes, they'll ask you to kindly please get back behind the tent where you can't see anything. Wow. So they walk you through the course one time, and they have a person demonstrate how each obstacle is supposed to be done, but that's really all the exposure you have to it.
Really?
So everything will be always on every course. You'll have those first 5 steps, the quintuple steps. You'll always end it with the warped wall. And the finals will always have a salmon ladder in it, and then a tower at the end. But all the obstacles in between,
you have no clue.
You have no idea. No idea.
Wow. Now, and that's fascinating because, you know, when you think about, like, everybody knows, like, with television, even, like, reality television, there's some level of scripting to it, right? And so, to that point, you would think, like, I know for me, even sitting here sometimes, I'm like, all right, maybe they let them do, like, some dry runs and kind of practice the event or practice the... That, I mean, fellas, listening to that, first off, just about everybody listening watches American Ninja Warrior. The ratings are off the charts. But when you step back and you see these guys go and do what they do, now knowing that they have zero exposure to all those little things in the middle, my man, that really highlights, you know, the athleticism and the adaptability and all of that. And so to that point, you mentioned CrossFit. Now, when you were preparing for American Ninja Warrior, did you specifically just do CrossFit, or did you go and start, you know, mimicking or doing simulated events to what you might, quote unquote, face during the challenge or during the run?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I really focused on CrossFit because a lot of the workouts contain movements where your grip is most important. And, you know, in Ninja Warrior, all you're doing is hanging from stuff the whole time. So, it's terrible. But there actually are little gems popping up here and there. And if you're a huge fan of the show, the name Michelle Warnke will ring a bell to you. And she's literally been either running the course or been in the crowd of every single episode, always on the sidelines. She's one of those big names like Jesse Graff and Drew Drexel, things of that nature. So I train at her gym right here in Columbus, Ohio.
Okay.
So, yeah, they have a warped wall there, salmon ladder, the quintuple steps, and, you know, we just hang from stuff, pull-ups, muscle-ups, things of that nature. So you really just want to focus on your grip and, more importantly, the endurance of your grip and how all of us can do these obstacles. They're not tremendously difficult, but in
succession.
Yeah, in succession, and when you're tired, your endurance plays in your mental capacity. Because, I mean, if we all had 2 chances to do it, we'd all knock it out. But the thing is, you have 1 chance, and you might be tired, and you know, your mental state kind of breaks down a little bit. So, you know, the show is really trying to build itself around the ability to mentally overcome any challenges you may be faced with.
You know what, man? It's funny you said something a second ago that was pretty powerful. You said, you know what? If we all had a second chance to do it, we all would be successful. But we only get 1 chance to do this course. What's impactful to me about what you just said there is it makes me think about life, because we only have 1 life to live, right? And so it's kind of like, yes, we always sit around like, man, if I could be, like we were talking about high school, if I could be 18 again and redo this, and if I could be 16 again, or if I could be 25, or, you know, if I could be right before I got married, I'd have done this different, you know. And I think about life, but then I also think about, this is Black fathers now, I think about fatherhood. You know, it's the whole notion of, yes, if we could go back and redo some of the mistakes or redo some of the things, maybe the things that we could have done better in regards to fatherhood, we would knock it out the box, but we don't have that option. So we have to, I guess proverbially, or in from a metaphorical sense, we have to get our grip tight, and we have to work on our endurance. We have to endure, you know what I'm saying, going forward in regards to being fathers, in regards to life, because you know, you're going to get obstacles thrown at you that you did not prepare for, like American Ninja Warrior, right?
Absolutely, man. The metaphor, the simile, everything you use right there is so important to fatherhood. And you know, taking it even back to the 1 chance we have to get this thing right. I heard someone say not too long ago, and I really wish I knew where I heard it, but it has led me to do things in my life that I've always wanted to do, but have been too scared to fail at. So, number 1, I know this brother, it was Steve Harvey. He said every successful person in our life, or that you've seen in your life, has jumped. Taken a big jump. And you can find that clip somewhere on the internet. I'd say Google Steve Harvey jump. You'll see it. But the other one that I always play back in my head is the rocking chair conversation. So, imagine yourself, you're 80 years old, on your front porch in your rocking chair, and you're replaying your life. Is there anything that you're going to regret? So if you're toiling over a decision, should I or shouldn't I do this? Think about when you're 80 years old and you think back on this decision. Would you have wished you had done it? Or would you have been okay throughout the rest of your life if you hadn't done it? So that has led me to jump, per se, into some real interesting things.
They're jumping. You have 1 life. You have 1 opportunity sometimes, and sometimes you just got to jump. But the thing is, the preparation and going through the process with American Ninja Warrior, in which obstacles are set up for you, and this is a metaphor for life, obstacles are set up that you have no idea of what's coming, but you have to have your grip ready. You got to have your endurance to hold your grip, but then you just got to go. And you got to try it. And one of the things that I always think about, and this is something that I ask in regards to our opportunities, or I ask myself, and it's like, what's the worst that can happen? And so when you stop and you think about, when you're going through the obstacles on American Ninja Warrior, if I lose my grip, I'm going to fall in the water. But when I fall in the water, I can get out. So you think about the worst that can happen. And then when you think about taking steps like this in regards to an entrepreneurial venture, this has been a dream of yours. This has been something that's been in your heart since you were 14 years old, you know, being a fitness enthusiast. You know what I'm saying? And now you're about to put that into practice. You think about it, like you think about what's the worst that can happen. We all think about that. But then you also, because you kind of hinted on this a minute ago, what's the cost of me not doing it right now? What's the cost of me not taking that risk? What's the cost of me not jumping? It's going to always stay in the back of your mind, and it's always going to be a what if. And I'm going to tell you one thing, too. And, fellas, Naeem actually has another challenge that kind of presented itself in the midst of this. So, you know, everything seems to be pretty smooth, right? Everything seems to be like a smooth, you know, transition. You got the call. You've already been training CrossFit. Now I have an opportunity to do something that, you know, I've always wanted to do.
I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming.
Episode, something happened.
You have to know that, Mike. Yeah, man. So, you know, we get older, man, and I tell you, the injury bug has definitely plagued me, and my chiropractor knows me very well. But I wish this was something my chiropractor could have helped me with that easily. But about 10 days, man, 10 days before I was supposed to go run this course, had a little pain, in that nether region. One of my man on the right was a little sensitive and just pain. I just could not endure this pain I was feeling. And so, like us, I let it slide for a little bit, but I went ahead, went home, and, hours later, I couldn't even walk. The pain was so bad. So to make a very, very long story short,
wow.
I go to the emergency room, and over the course of 2 different nights, the first time I went, they sent me home after they did an ultrasound and said, "Sir, it seems as if you either have a severe infection or one of your testicles is twisted."
Oh.
I tried to say it over.
Oh, Lord! Oh, Lord!
I think every brother out there needs a break right now just to digest.
I gotta breathe. Yeah, man. Push pause and just go get you some cold water, fellas, and just don't think too much about this.
I'll be living it all over again, but yeah.
Let's continue.
So yeah, my man was twisted up down there. They sent me home, ibuprofen, painkillers, and they said maybe it'll clear itself up. Next day, man, it's the worst pain I ever felt in my life. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't walk. I couldn't anything. So my wife takes me back to the emergency room, and they say, "All right, we're calling the urologist." The urologist says we got to operate immediately. So they said we would have tried to save your testicle because you got about a 6-hour window if this happens. It's called torsion, and it usually happens to you when you're about 13, 14, 15, 16. Mm-hmm. But it happened to me when I was 37. That's why they didn't think that's what it was. Mm-hmm. But anyway, he gets me in operating room table the next day, and they had to take one of my boys out. So.
Oh, Lord. Well, you said you were a late bloomer, and so. I mean, puberty usually happens at 13 or whatever. Puberty doesn't happen at 30.
Medical anomaly, man. They can't figure it out. So 10 days later, stitches and everything. I was not 100% healthy when I ran the course, which is why this upcoming season 10, I will be 100% healthy, and we're going to have an even better result. But yeah, man, getting through that, I mean, the devastation, the mental devastation there. I mean, I've wanted to be on this show ever since I first saw it. Finally take the jump to apply. I hit the lottery by being selected. I'm training, found a gym. I'm training with somebody who's been on the show like 7 times. And then 10 days before, something hits me in an area where it literally wipes you out. So now I'm like, I get the chance of a lifetime. I can be on television. I can do all this stuff, but now I'm out. So it was either give up, have the surgery, and just say, you know what, it'll be what it is, or follow my doctor's instructions to a T, do what I'm supposed to do my own research in addition to what the doctor was telling me to see how I can heal and get back in there. And man, I got to tell you, it almost was a non-issue. Other than, of course, there were about 5 or 6 days before I ran the course where I couldn't train. I literally was just laying in a bed. But it's these things in life that consistently knock us down, or our challenges, or obstacles, if you will. And we are either going to overcome the obstacle, conquer it, or we're going to let it overcome us. So I thought that was a great segue into, kind of what situation I am in life right now.
It's crazy and it's interesting, and to me it's borderline prophetic when you stop and you think about how this thing played out, right? I mean, you think about the odds. Well, 70,000 people applied for 560 spots, right? 70,000 applied for 560 spots. So, I mean, that's less than 5%. I mean, it's literally a small, minute group of people actually get selected to even be on the show. This is something that you have been watching for years.
Right.
You were watching American Ninja Warrior before people in America were watching it, right? Because you were watching it when it was filmed in Japan. So it's something over the last decade that you have been interested in doing and thinking that I can do this. You got these crazy odds, 70,000 people, 560 selected. You get the call. It's like, wow, I finally get my chance. It's about to be on and popping. I start doing my CrossFit even more, start working with the ninja training. Then 10 days prior to, my little buddy downstairs tells me, we're going to make this. Actually, you know, it's interesting. It's prophetic in the sense of you don't know what obstacles you're going to face when you hit the course. But, you know, you stop and you think about it, the way that you had the intention of, I'm going to jump, I'm going to make this happen, I'm going to do what's necessary to accomplish my goal, that carried you through this medical scenario, but then that also carried you into the course itself. And if I'm not mistaken, you actually were one of the top.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I was. And so I made it far enough, fast enough, and anyone who made it to this point fell right there. And that was on the I-beam. And you can catch all this, nbc.com/American Ninja Warrior, Season 9, Episode 10 in Cleveland. You want to watch the Cleveland City Finals. You know, got far enough, fast enough, advanced to the finals. So that means out of those 100 and some odd runners that ran in Cleveland, I made it into the top 30. And then the top 30, we move on to the finals and then run. But man, what's even the crazier odds is that out of those 100 or so people, they don't put everybody on television. And I know people that have been on the show 4 and 5 seasons and have zero airtime for any of them. And they aired my entire run from start to finish.
Wow.
And I got to tell you, man, it's just, you know, if you believe in a higher power, which I truly do, absolutely, man. You know, God is I believe He smiles on all of us, and He gave me a little gift throughout this whole journey. So, man, you know, we just try to keep doing the right thing out here and watch it play out and just play it the best that we can.
Man, I'm going to tell you what's interesting about that. You talk about gifts and how God gives each one of us a gift. And the thing about a gift, and this is just like people don't understand that when you're given a gift, the first thing that you have to do is you have to unwrap it, right? And so for a lot of people, what they do is they get a gift, but then they just put the box on a shelf somewhere, or they put it, you know, in a closet. They never take time to really unwrap the gift. And to me, what's so interesting about this process is you understood that you were given a gift. You understood that you were given something special, and you actually unwrap that gift. Now, granted, somebody, you know, it's kind of like somebody gives you a gift and they tape it up really good and it's hard to open, so I have to struggle a little bit. I mean, that was the medical issue, or that was the whole notion of 70,000 people applying, only 560 spots, or, you know, all these things going on. I'm still a husband. I'm still a father. I got all these things going on in life, but I'm still going to continuously unwrap this gift to get to what He's given me. And dude, you made the intention to do that, and you see how making that intention on the front end leads to other things. You got over the medical issue. You got to American Ninja Warrior. You actually qualified to the finals for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Dude, fellas, if y'all are listening to that, man, I mean, when you think about challenges, we all face challenges. Now, granted, we're not going to all face the same challenges, but in life, we're all going to face challenges, and we're going to face challenges that we did not see coming. My question is, what is your grip like, and have you been working on your endurance to hold your grip? Because if you have not, you're going to have issues and you're going to have problems. But if you understand that I don't know what the challenges are, but I'm going to make sure that my grip is right, and I'm going to make sure that my endurance with my grip is going to be tight, I can face any challenge that's thrown at me. Because guess what? It's just a challenge, and challenges are meant to be faced. And so, my brother, your story is fascinating, dude. Like, I didn't know all of this. I know a little bit of it, but I didn't know all of this, man. This is fascinating, man. And so just thinking more so about it now, like, you know, we all watch it on television and all of that. So from the standpoint of experience, like, from your perspective, what was different about experiencing it versus watching it on television? Like, I mean, I know that you said it took a long time to film it and all of that, but what was the experience like, and did it match up to what you expected it to be when you got there?
Well, it did. And you know what, man? A lot of praise to the producers, man. Putting on that show is no easy task. You are organizing so many different people and their families. The amount of work that goes into organizing the family, because you got to get those people on the sidelines. You got to find where those people are. They're moving crowds in and out. My wife, man, hats off to her. I love that woman so much because she, I'm focusing on an athletic event. So she's organizing all of our out-of-town guests to be at a certain spot so that when my run comes up, which you don't know when that's going to be, she's got to have everybody in their right spot. And she's organizing dinners for people to go. And because, like we said, it's such a long day of taping, there's a lot of interaction with the really famous names, the Joe Morassis. Check out my man, Najee Richardson. You saw him in Las Vegas. Yeah, one of the top 3. And matter of fact, he was second place this year out of the whole thing. And, man, meeting him was phenomenal. And meeting a lot of the other people. So the whole time you're there, you're behind a tent where you can't see who's running the course, but you're practicing, you're interacting with fans. All of us are talking, how are you going to attack this? How are you going to attack this? And, to watch a television show play out, the amount of showing up a day ahead of time so that you can take hero shots and do B-roll, which is all those action shots. When you watch Monday Night Football and all the guys from Mississippi State, that's, you have to do all that, and so they do that for everybody. And then they do the backstories where they pull you up into a hotel and they put you in, with an interviewer, and they interview you for, 10, 20 minutes. They might do that 4 different times. They did it for me 4 different times. They didn't air any of my interviews, but, they have thousands of hours of tape that they're putting together. And then in Cleveland, it was the first city where they did the fan experience, where LeBron James showed up, and it was a family event the day before the actual taping of the course. And, kids get to come out, meet the ninjas that you always see on TV, and they get to play on obstacles that are designed specifically for them. So, man, I mean, that, if it's coming anywhere near you, the show, the production, tickets are free. All you have to do is look online for them. And I would say go experience that, because that show is something on television that you can watch from grandkids to grandparents. Nobody's offended, and everyone can take something from it. So, and there's not a lot you can say that about on television right now, but I recommend anybody definitely check out the taping if you can.
And we're gonna definitely put in the show notes the link so folks can check out your run on the show itself. But I guess kind of a good segue now is just like everybody can take something from the experience. This is Black Fathers Now, and so when I think about your experience, and not just the Ninja Warrior thing, but everything that you kind of went through, all of that, your whole experience, what, like, from the impact on you as a father or impacting you as a husband, how has all of this...
Definitely. So my 2 boys, they are 3 and 5. Maxwell's 3, Austin's 5. And they... in this information age with the iPads and the phones and everything, everything's on the screen. So, not like when we were children, if we saw someone we knew on television, that's like, wow. But when they saw me on television, it was just like, oh, yeah, Dad on TV, but, so, for them, they didn't quite get the impact at first, but through time and their friends coming up to them saying, oh, your dad was the American Ninja Warrior, and at their school, the teachers coming up to me, people asking for autographs. I mean, I'm no big celebrity by any means, but, kind of a local, everyone sees a local guy on television, so my kids have finally grasped that. And so they've, that show has actually bonded us where, instead of asking to watch PJ Masks or Dora or something on TV, they want to watch American Ninja Warrior. But then Maxwell calls it American Ninja Warrior. So,
oh wow!
And he's always saying, "Dada, I want to see you fall in the water," and clapping his hands. So yeah, I mean the experience has definitely brought us closer together. Next year on the show, if they select me again, I plan on having them on the sideline. It's just such a long day. I didn't want to put them through that this time. But yeah, like I said earlier, with my wife being so close to organizing everything and being supportive of me. And she's a fitness fanatic. She's gonna try to apply for the show this year, which I think she'll get accepted because she's attached to me. But just us as a family, my kids are gonna grow up as gym kids. And when you're a gym kid, not only am I just a professional, out here in my professional job earning a living and keeping the bills paid, but I'm also going to be able to spend a lot of time with my children, and they're going to see me do what I do, and I'm going to be able to teach them things so that by the time they're ready and old enough to run the course, man, they'll know Dad was right there with them the whole way. And I'm always looking for ways to spend more time with my kids and special things that we can do in this busy life that we all lead, and we just have to make time for those things. We know, man, fathers, this is not taking anything away from the mothers. And mothers are so very important. But when it comes to fathers, whenever you look at someone who's having a life issue, a major life issue, you can usually trace that back to the father wasn't there. So we got to make sure we are there as much as we possibly can be. And, because we got to raise our kids up to be example citizens. So.
Dude, you said so much, man, and when you talk, a lot of what I hear is intention, right? It's like you're very intentional in what you do. It's just like, I'm not doing something just for the heck of it. I'm not doing it, it just kind of sounds cool. I'm very intentional in how I operate. I'm intentional on my training. I'm intentional on overcoming this challenge. I'm intentional on meeting each, obstacle that was put up in front of me and getting over it. I'm intentional in creating something or creating a vehicle for my family to grow together, to use, the platform of fitness and ninja training as an opportunity for us to bond and to use our own things and come into ourselves and come into our own. Everything is intentional, and fathers, brothers listening to this, understand that intention matters. The why behind what you do matters. If you don't have a strong intention in regards to what you're doing, if you don't really understand your why, it's going to be hard for you to apply anything. It's going to be hard for you to meet the challenges that you don't see coming and succeed and overcome them like the last challenge. It's going to be hard for you to do that without intention. And if you look at Naeem's story and you look at the things that he's come over, he's overcome, the things that he's faced up until this point, he's been intentional, and that intention, that focus, that heart, him understanding his why behind it all has helped him to overcome those things. And in reality, the sky's going to be the limit.
I so appreciate you saying that, man. I do. I don't want anybody out there to think that your words are so kind, and they make me seem very, very calculated. And yes, I do have intentions. There are goals that I want to accomplish, and I think that's the main thing behind why it looks so intentional. There are goals that I've set out for myself, for my family, and I've written those goals down. That's the most important thing. You gotta write them down or else you forget them. And, so I just set out every day to make sure I accomplish part of my goal or to get there. And as long as we do that, man, I don't see why we can't overcome anything or be successful at what we're trying to do. And if you're not successful at it, if you fail, failure is good, because that just lets you know how you need to not do it the next time you want to try.
It ain't a failure, it's a lesson. Oh, my goodness, man. So Cleveland City Finals from American Ninja Warrior on NBC.com. What I'll do is I'll put that in the show notes, fellas, so y'all can just click on that and you can go through and watch the episode. Well, hey, my brother, I appreciate you spending time with us today, man, and just kind of laying out some opportunities for brothers to just think about life a little bit differently, think about obstacles, think about challenges, think about the unknown a little bit differently, but then also have the courage to face it and to jump. I appreciate you sharing your story with all of us, because at the end of the day, somebody is going to gain something from that.
Mike, I'm humbled and I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Word up. No doubt, my brother, man. Hey, I appreciate you too, man. And fellas, as always, visit blackfathersnow.com. Follow Black Fathers Now on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Shoot me an email, blackfathersnow@gmail.com, if you have any questions, comments, and or concerns. And if you're listening on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, whatever platform you listen to podcasts on, make sure to leave a rating for this one, and leave a pretty good rating too, and leave some comments, as we definitely love to hear comments and read comments, and we like to rise up in the rankings too, so definitely 5-star ratings across the board would be awesome. And this episode has been brought to you by blackfamilyapparel.com. Definitely visit blackfamilyapparel.com and grab some dope apparel that celebrates all the nuances of the black family. And until next time, fellas, be blessed, well, and wise. Yo, fellas, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And always, always, always visit blackfathersnow.com, as well as follow Black Fathers Now on virtually every social media platform you can think of. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere. Just follow us and engage with us, man. Look forward to hearing from you. And I guess until next time, I'll holler at you. Peace.